Good morning and welcome to Empowering Older Adults, Strengthening Independent Living with Resources and Support, a pilot education series for community and faith partners hosted by the San Francisco Interfaith Council, San Francisco Department of Disability and Aging Services, and the Institute on Aging. This program is supported by a grant from Metta Fund. Today's orientation to the 6-week online training, you'll hear from the CEO and executive directors of the sponsoring agencies of this training series. You'll also learn about important training and tools being presented in the series, as well as the CEUs available to eligible participants. And you'll get a chance to ask your questions. A bit of housekeeping. So today's program is being recorded. All participants will be muted and without video to minimize distraction. But to submit a question or comment, you can select the chat button at the bottom of your screen and send a message to Q&A. And then we'll forward those questions to the host and answer them time permitting. If you need closed captions, select the live transcript button at the bottom of your screen and click Enable Live Transcription. Today's agenda will start with the reading of our SFIC statement, enjoy a reflective moment, and have greetings and messages from the sponsoring executives before our panel discussion and Q&A. And with that, I'll hand it off to the Executive Director of the Interfaith Council, Michael Pappas. Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Trey. Good morning. I'm Michael Pappas, and on behalf of the San Francisco Interfaith Council, I want to welcome you to this special orientation to the 6-week online training series entitled Empowering Older Adults. Communities of faith are hubs where older adults feel safe, valued, and may escape social isolation. Faith and lay leaders entrusted with their spiritual care are more often than not first responders in instances when the well-being of older adults is at risk. To better equip faith-affiliated caregivers with the necessary insights, skills, and resources to minister to this vulnerable sector, the San Francisco Interfaith Council, in collaboration with the San Francisco Department of Disability and Aging Services and the Institute on Aging, supported by a grant from the Metta Fund, will offer a 6-week online training series entitled Empowering Older Adults. The curriculum comprising this series will include elder abuse and prevention, important resources, injury prevention, isolation, ageism and ableism, talking about end-of-life issues. Continuing education certification credit option is available for members of the clergy. This week's online briefing for community and faith partners welcomes the Empowering Older Adults Planning Committee, who will offer an orientation on the training series, what to expect, and how to make the most of the experience. At this time, as we do each week, I will read the interfaith statement read at every one of our gatherings. This is an interfaith community. Whatever our individual belief, it can be freely expressed here with no apologies. If we are invited to offer prayer in this setting, it should be offered according to the tradition with which we identify. If we are invited to speak on a subject from the perspective of our tradition, we are free to do so without fear of offending those who come from another tradition. We come together as people of faith to learn from each other, that we might better understand the multiplicity of faith traditions in our city and in our world. To ground us in a reflective moment, I am very, very pleased to welcome new friend and colleague, Rabbi Debora Kohn, who comes to us from the San Francisco, let me make sure I have this right, yes, San Francisco Campus of Jewish Living. She is the spiritual care director. I had the opportunity to go visit that center up in the Outer Mission in the Excelsior and was so impressed with both the center and Rabbi Kohn that I invited her to offer the reflective moment at today's gathering. So without further ado, we welcome Rabbi Debora Kohn, Spiritual Director, San Francisco Campus for Jewish Living.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you all. So Psalm 71 says, God, do not forsake me when I'm old, when my strength fails. Do not cast me off. When I get older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Both Psalm 71 and Paul McCartney express a fear that we all have, being frail and abandoned when in our old age. But if we live long enough, we will experience changes in our bodies and in our abilities. And our culture has negative expectations about aging, which is defined by losses. Our culture sees old age as having nothing to bring as having nothing to bring to the community. And as we define ourselves by our professions, old people tend to lose their identity. The Hebrew word for elder is zaken, and it's the acronym of Ze Shekana Chochma, the person that acquired wisdom. And wisdom can be only acquired with experience, and experience can be only acquired with time. Elders have lived long enough, and they need to share their wisdom and experience. And we need to learn from their wisdom and their experience. And together, we can create a space for this sharing, to listen to their stories, to their fascinating long journeys, weaving together laughter and tears, sorrow and joy. We need to be present in the time that we are living and do not focus only on the losses and the past. We must savor the achievement, the successes of our lives, and rejoice in our lives as they are today. Old age is actually a time when we can actually grow, because no matter how old you are, there's always something that we can learn, always something that we can look for. In our old age, we can reach for our highest values. And during all our lives, we have been identified by what we do. So being an elder is cultivating the art of being. Now, it is very easy to focus on what is missing in our lives. Legs that do not walk as fast as they used to, forgetfulness that is more and more frequent, eyes and ears that are not sharp as they used to be. So enjoying life does not come easily. So how do we do it? We understand the need that we need to understand that we are all part of a community. And in a culture that idolizes independence, we need to understand that we are all interdependent. And our culture understands sickness as a physical malfunction that need to be fought against. Battling, struggling, conquering, fighting are common verbs that are used in medicine today. And it is important to remember that old age is not a disease. It is the normal development of human beings. But unfortunately, our culture understands old age as an incurable disease that needs to be defeated, cured, ignored, or hidden. And so old people are isolated. They either choose to go to a retirement home, or as a result of not being able to care for themselves, they need a place in a nursing home. Nursing homes and retirement homes in our culture are perceived as the waiting room for death. But as spiritual leaders, we need to understand that eldering is a spiritual process, and younger generations must be educated to honor and to care for the elders. And maybe the most challenging part in this process is that each one of us needs to internalize the understanding that if we live long enough, we ourselves will be the elders of the next generation. We must put forward the vision of elders as part of the community, people that might not be productive in terms of materialism, but from whom we can learn from their experience, whose love we can enjoy, and whom we can love. In the words of Psalm 90, teach us to treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day, that we acquire a heart of wisdom. Teach us to treasure each day.
Amen. Thank you so much, Rabbi Kohn. You have given us a foundation upon which to build, and we are grateful for your contribution. As was mentioned at the outset, this is a collaboration of some entities which have actually been working together for quite some time, and yet we are taking our collaboration to a new level with this online training series. I want to offer a great deal of thanks to the San Francisco Department of Disability and Aging Services, the Institute on Aging, and the Metta Fund, which is supporting this. And to open today's program, we have greetings from Kelly Dearman, the Executive Director of the San Francisco Department of Disability and Aging Services, Tom Briody, the President and CEO of the Institute on Aging, and Janet Spears, the Chief Executive Officer of the Metta Fund.
My name is Kelly Dearman. I am the Executive Director of San Francisco's Department of Disability and Aging Services. Our mission and vision is to make it possible for older adults and people with disabilities to live safely, comfortably, and with dignity in the community of their choice. We encourage aging in place and want to see that happen for all those who want it. At DOS, we do this through our in-house programs, including adult protective services, the public guardian, and in-home supportive services, and by collaborating with community partners for things such as nutrition, adult day resource centers, legal advocacy, and much more. The Empowering Older Adults series falls right in line with our mission and vision, as this series provides additional tools and tips for those aging in place. I applaud the Interfaith Council, the Institute on Aging, and the generous support of the Metta Fund for making this happen. It is my hope that by engaging the Interfaith Council, we will reach a larger, newer audience who are not aware of the many resources available to the populations we serve. For me, the professional is very personal. I am a native San Franciscan. In fact, I live in the house I grew up in with my partner, children, and my parents. I spend my work hours focused on older adults and people with disabilities, ensuring that we are doing all we can to confirm that their ongoing needs are being met and to make sure that we are reaching out to everyone in this population, all while certifying that our programs and services are culturally competent and allow for everyone to be seen. At the end of the day, once at home, I am ensuring that my aging parents' needs are met, that I am living up to the promise to let them age in place, at home, with their family, and most importantly, that they have joy. As a daughter, as a San Franciscan, as the director of DOS, we are fortunate to have the Interfaith Council, the Institute on Aging, and the Metta Fund working together, embarking on this pilot and providing valuable information to older adults and people with disabilities. I encourage you all to lean in, ask questions, and urge all of your friends and family to participate. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom Briody, and I'm the CEO of the Institute on Aging. I'd like to welcome you to the San Francisco Interfaith Council's education series, Empowering Older Adults. It's an honor for the Institute on Aging to be in collaboration with the San Francisco Interfaith Council and the San Francisco Department of Disability and Aging Services. Let me share a little bit about myself and a little bit about the Institute on Aging. I have been in the aging space my entire career, and it's something very near and dear to my heart. And that relationship began many, many years ago. My grandmother in 1946, after losing her husband, started a home for the aged. She recognized there was many older adults in her small community that had no one to care for them, and so she began to take them in. And that was the beginning of a 3-generation family business. Now, while I've not been involved in the family business, it's had a powerful impact on my life and my career. And if we look at the Institute on Aging, there was something very similar, that it was about 45 years ago at Mount Zion Hospital that the leadership of that hospital recognized that there were too many older adults in hospitals and nursing homes, and they were being harmed. And so the hospital established the Institute on Aging with the sole purpose being to help support older adults and adults with disabilities to live longer in the community and to have a more vibrant life. And so over these past 45 years, IOA has remained consistent with that mission. Everything that we do goes back to that touch point. We're very excited to be a part of this educational series because of its focus on faith leaders. We know that faith leaders hold a very special place in the community. Their congregants, members of their congregations, look to them and confide in them. And faith leaders have a very special relationship. They know of the challenges and heartaches that many older adults are experiencing. And so we are hopeful that this educational series will give faith leaders more tools to be better advocates, helping their congregants to connect with services in the community. Now, while this is a 6-week educational program, IOA's commitment to both the Interfaith Council and faith leaders will go far beyond that. We are absolutely committed to helping identify concerns and bring resolutions to some of the challenges that older adults and those with disabilities face in our community. And it's an honor to be a part of this collaboration. So I wish you a great educational series, and I look forward to our ongoing working relationship. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Janet Spears, CEO at Metta Fund, a private foundation here in San Francisco. Let me just start by saying welcome. So glad that you decided to sign up for this training series. I know it's virtual. We wish we were all in person, but it's better to get the information than not get it at all. So let me just say a few words about myself. I am a California native, and I have been a long-term resident of San Francisco for about 32 years. I'm the youngest of 4. Both of my parents are deceased, but I am living my best life now here in the city. I am so pleased to represent and be the leader of Metta Fund and to be a funder of this particular series of empowering you as you serve the community and as you are a faith leader. So thank you so much for your time today and for the time that you'll spend over the next 6 weeks, getting smarter, getting better at what you do. So first, everyone always asks, how did you become interested in this work about older adults? Quite frankly, it's really simple. As the youngest, I always had the opportunity to be with the older. And with that said, there's always been this desire in my heart to know what I could learn to make my life a little bit easier. And no better way to find that out than to be and hang around my elders. I am best known in my family for hiding under the table as the older adults would have their conversations when I was too young to be out with the older kids, but young enough to hide under the table and listen to the older adults and their wisdom as they shared with one another. So this collaboration, that's just a little bit about me. So this collaboration between IOA, the San Francisco Disability and Aging Services Department, the San Francisco Interfaith Council, and us here at Metta Fund is something that I truly believe in the depths of my heart. I believe we can get further in this collaborative spirit and in our connectedness together by working together and lending our best selves forward in the work that needs to be done or gets to be done on our watch. And I say on our watch because what is really important to me is I feel we all have a path to travel while we are here on this earth. And while we're here, we carry the torch as far as we can carry it for our leg of the race. Our ancestors did that to get us here today. And I feel like it is our responsibility to carry our torch as far as we can take it during the time that we're here. So what that means is each of you get to learn quite a bit over the next 6 weeks, elder abuse, all the other topics that you'll learn about, and be better at what you do every day and to bring your best foot forward as we work in a collaborative way. And more importantly, I think collectively we are all better when we do work together. So with that said, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking your time to learn and be in virtual community with one another. And Metta Fund is just trying to do our part at this point in time. So have a great next 6 weeks, or whenever you might see this video. You might be part of the way in. But thank you so much for your dedication to your community, yourself, and to those loved ones that you have here, and to the family that you support. So that is it. Janet Spears, Metta Fund CEO, San Francisco, California. Thank you so much.
Once again, we are grateful to these principals for allowing their staff to help put this program together and for funding this program. Before we begin the panel discussion, which will encompass history, curriculum, CEU credits, and the logistics and tracking, I had the opportunity to scroll through today's attendees, and I know there are many people that are here for the very first time. We've been hosting these online trainings, online briefings since the beginning of the pandemic. But I see so many new faces. Wanted to let you know that we are not showing the attendees and we are not having an open chat because we're trying to minimize distraction. However, each and every one of you is special and your thoughts are special. So if in the course of the panel discussion or you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will address them during the Q&A session. Please do. We want to make sure that you have all the information you need to have a meaningful experience with us over the next 6 weeks. To begin our panel discussion, it's an honor to introduce friend and colleague Tom Nolan, who is the SFIC's liaison to the San Francisco Department of Disabilities and Aging Services. Tom worked with the department for a number of years, and because of his own deep spirituality and interest in religion, he was the one to reach out to the Interfaith Council at the get-go and to initiate this relationship between DAS and the Interfaith Council. And so we've asked Tom to kind of give us a little bit of the history between our two entities and anything else he'd like to speak to. Tom, thank you for being with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Michael. And good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to be here, be part of this collaboration, which I think has been a very exciting series of lectures and courses and discussions. So the context of this, Michael asked me to talk about that a little, how this all happened. Well, I went to DAS in 2012 as I was called the manager of special projects. And one thing was to establish a relationship with the Interfaith Council, which I happily did. I have a Master of Divinity degree from Duke University. I had a long and strong interest in matters, religious matters. And also the leadership of DAS, originally under Ann Hinton, former executive director, and Shereen McSpadden, they also came from a very kind of similar background. Ann was very involved in the Methodist Church in Redwood City, which she was a member. Shereen is a daughter of a minister, and also a member of the Glide Memorial Board of Directors. So we realized the spiritual needs, a lot of the spiritual needs of the people we serve at DAS. So we knew that our agency's services were not very well known, though, in the city. There's a very rich array of services that are offered across the board, all kinds of things. Kelly mentioned a few of them there this morning, but we know that we're not that well known. So we decided that what we would like to do is talk to the Faith Council about getting together and convening a meeting. So eventually, in 2016, we held a convocation up at St. Mary's Cathedral, their conference center. We had well over 200 people there, faith leaders, community leaders, DAS staff, and others. And it began to be a very, very fruitful relationship. We had talks and we had discussion groups, and we decided at that point to continue. The continuation actually included forming a roundtable. We had one roundtable meeting, the idea of having many more. However, the COVID intervened and we weren't able to do that at that point. But the purpose of the thing really was for DAS to tell the faith leaders what's available, what kind of services are available, because we know that many of the congregants would come to them with questions and concerns of that group, the age, and then also to have us understand for the faith leaders what they're seeing, what I call the view from the pulpit, which actually is what kind of problems, what kind of issues are being presented by the seniors today. And so it's a fruitful dialogue, really a true partnership. So in addition to all of this, Michael Pappas, our beloved executive director, was appointed by the mayor to serve on the DAS commission, the oversight body that oversees all the work of DAS. And after I retired in last year, Michael asked me to be a kind of informal liaison to the council, to the DAS from the council. And Kelly Dearman is fully committed to maintaining and strengthening this relationship. So to that end, we attended all kinds of meetings. The Interfaith Council has been terrific with these weekly briefings they've had, and I participated in many of them myself. And actually, Debora, the DAS staff, including Shireen McSpadden, gave comments to these meetings, and several other staff members made presentations as well. So I think it's a very valuable relationship, and I look forward to the series that's coming up now, Empowering Older Adults. And I think it'll be very helpful to everybody involved. So I want to thank everybody who's participating, the IOA, everybody from DAS, the Interfaith Council, and of course, the Metta Fund. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. And before we introduce Ali Chiu, who will join us by video, I just wanted to share with you in terms of what inspired this series. In another iteration in life, I was a Greek Orthodox priest for 16 years. And in my first parish in Chicago, it was a very sort of immigrant community. And folks would not go to, to a psychiatrist if, say, they had, if they had psychological issues. And the local Lutheran hospital understood that. And so they really valued the role of the faith community because they knew that congregants were going to go to their faith leaders first. And so what they did was they created a 12-week on a 12-week in-person training at the hospital where they taught faith leaders early diagnosis and referral so that these faith leaders who were not equipped to know these things in advance would at least have the support that they needed. And as we proceeded with these online briefings, it dawned on me that this area of aging and older adults was an area that the faith leaders in particular and faith-affiliated caregivers could make a real difference. And so it is our hope in over the next 6 weeks to be able to empower not only older adults, but also faith-affiliated caregivers with the insights, the skills, and the resources that they need to better serve this vulnerable community. With that, I want to invite, and we'll see a video now on the curriculum that you can expect over the next 6 weeks.
Welcome, and thank you for allowing me to share the 6-week training series you are about to experience starting next week. My name is Chiu, and I am with Institute on Aging. It is a privilege to be here and to be following all these wonderful leaders you have heard so far. Back in November, I had reached out to Michael about an idea, and actually not an idea, a collaboration and recommendation we have from our Elder and Disability Debt Review team. The idea and recommendation was that we need to do more and collaborating more with the faith community in regarding to preventing elder abuse. One meeting after another, here we are, the Empowering Older Adults series was born. I am so happy that this is really coming together and we are actually doing this. Starting next week, actually, let's see, May 18 next week, our very own Elder Abuse Prevention Program Development Specialist, Glenn Fishman, he will be presenting the basic dynamic on elder abuse, tools how to prevent elder abuse, and resources around this area. You really do not want to miss this one. The one after, on May 25, there will be important resources for older adults in San Francisco. Now, if you are tuning in from outside of San Francisco, it's still going to be very helpful to you. We will have Dana from the Hub, the Department of Aging and Disability Hub, and we will have Elle from IOA, also from IOA, to talk about all these different resources. Meals on Wheel, how to sign up for benefit, support at home, the list goes on. Really, really important, okay? On June 1st, I'm just gonna keep going. On June 1st, we have Rita from Department of Public Health, and she will be talking about the very important tools of how to prevent injury. As we know that when we age, you know, stuff happens, right? Anything can happen to anyone. So those tools, it's gonna be very, very important. So June 8th, we will have UCSF, and I'm gonna make sure I pronounce her name right, Dr. Carla Perisanato, I hope I did it right, and she will be talking to us about isolation. People are isolated, and therefore people are vulnerable. So you really, really don't want to miss that one. On June 15, and actually June 15 is the Elder Abuse Awareness Day, the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And that's a very, very important thing because it is one of the reasons we're doing this training series. It's really acknowledging the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. So on June 15, it will be yours truly. I will be speaking with you all about the harmful practice and harmful things that we see on ableism and ageism, and how ableism and ageism perpetuate abuse against older adults. All right? You really don't want to miss that. I guarantee that. And lastly, we will end the whole series with June 22nd, our very, very favorite Nina, and she will be talking about end-of-life wishes. If you think that any of this topic that you may not need in your practice, I have to say, you might be rethinking about it. I really would like you to rethink about it. Every single topic has been considered and talked about over and over and over again, so we can put this whole series together. So I really invite you to join every single one of them. It is completely free. It doesn't cost you anything. And plus, you will learn a lot about how to support older adults in your community. Thank you. And I will see you there.
We are very grateful to Ali and the Institute on Aging for their incredible support and resources that they are lending to this program. And so we hope that you will follow her guidance and encouragement in being present at all of these sessions, because they actually do go hand in hand. Ali mentioned our beloved Nina. She was referring to the Venerable Reverend Canon Nina Pickerrell, who is the Archdeacon of the Episcopal Diocese of California, the owner and operator of the Bayview mission. But from the San Francisco Interfaith Council standpoint, she is the reservist with the Community Living Campaign. And to show our commitment to aging and adult folk, that what we've done is we've participated in the Community Living Campaign's Reservist program, which brings older adults back into the workforce. Nina was brought on a couple of years ago as part of the Reservist program to help us at the Interfaith Council do programs like this. Nina, we are very grateful for your presence. And we've asked you today to talk about the CEU program, what it is, who's eligible, what the benefits are, and any other aspects of the CEU portion of this that might be helpful to the attendees today.
Thank you, Michael. I'm so excited to be here, and I see a lot of familiar names and new names, and I'm thrilled to take part with the program, the new pilot program. I'm here today to talk to you about CEU, Continuing Education Units. And as you notice, as you filled out the application, you were asked if you were clergy and if you were interested in CE units. And so it's up to you to make that decision. Please know it is not a requirement. And the good news is that it's available for those who would like to obtain more CEU units this year. So the technical piece of CEU is 10 hours per one unit. And the good news is the term continuing education unit. So this means that this course is 6 hours plus the orientation, tools and resources you've already gained through the presentations that have already been given. And in turn, you can extend the hours to your individual faith communities as faith leaders. For example, you're able to go out and have a class, a workshop for seniors that are in need of resources. If you want to give a class of how to handle a person who's in need of a funeral, or the cost of a funeral, or he or she or they have been abused, and so on. These are numerous classes that you can start in your own faith communities. So in this, again, it is not a requirement, but you are welcome to say yes, and we will take care of that on our end. Again, I am so pleased to be here to take part and to hear any questions or concerns you may have through the next 6 weeks, and know that we are here to support you. And as Kelly said, quote unquote, everyone is seen, and that is so true. Even though we have folks who have been in isolation, who are dealing with violent situations, and lean in and ask questions, because we're here as a resource, and hopefully you will take away what you need, and at the same time know that we are available by email or the chat. And that should do it for me. Michael, did I miss anything?
I think you covered absolutely everything.
Okay, good.
Comprehensively and in an informative manner. Thank you so much, Deacon Nina. At this time, I'd like to bring on Trey Russell Allen. He is sort of the unsung hero of our programming. Trey came to the Interfaith Council during the pandemic He was part of the COVID Command Center's team, communications team. And when the COVID Command Center shut down and the Metta Fund said they wanted to continue our briefings, I reached out to Trey, whom I've known for many, many years, and we had a seamless transition. And so we're entering into some new waters. I sleep better at night knowing that that Trey is at the helm logistically and technically. And I've asked Trey to come on today just to talk a little bit about the logistics of the programming ahead and also about the tracking for those of you who will be getting CEU credits. Trey, thanks for being with us, and thanks for all you do, and the floor is yours.
Well, now I can match the voice with the face. Usually I'm not on camera, but it's an honor to be with you today. And yes, we see so many new names, and we're excited to share a great program, a great training program with you. You're not going to want to miss each of these weeks, so stay tuned. And just a note, if you are thinking, wow, this is so cool, I really wish they had a training series for this subject or about, this area that we work on, we're all ears. We'd love to hear your ideas. You can put them in the chat directly to me, or you can also email us. Whenever you get an SFIC email, you can always reply and say, hey, what about this? I think this is a great idea. Or I know a partner that would love to work with you. So we're all ears about the training series. So when you registered, you shared with us some information, whether or not you're in the clergy, where you're located, and all of that helps us understand, the best ways that we can track. And at the same time, Nina and her team, they're going to ensure that if you need CEU credits, that as long as you're in class or in the training series for the 50 or so minutes that the class is running, that you'll get that credit. So you will need to be on for about 50 minutes to retain credit. And so I know if you're away from your computer, we can work with you, but just by logging on, we'll know that you're here. We're excited that you're here. We hope you can engage with us through the chat, ask good questions, ask tough questions. And this is a place we're going to go to some heavy stuff. And so I hope that you can feel the safety that, you can ask some of those questions that you might have been thinking that you're afraid to ask. This is the place to do it. So, Michael, is there anything else you want me to cover?
Thank you. That actually helped in answering one of the questions. I'd like you to bring everybody, bring the team on board now, because we're going to enter into a Q&A session. I did want to tell everybody, because I've noticed over the past couple of years since we've been doing these briefings, it's almost like going to services. Some people come late. We are going to encourage you all, and Trey, if you can come on the line too, into the room. We are going to encourage you all to come from the very beginning. To maximize our time together, we are going to dispense with the opening reflective moment, the reading of the SFIC statement, because we want to make sure that our presenters are using the time effectively, and that you will as well. So please come from the beginning, and that's going to be important also for Trey in terms of tracking. We have two wonderful questions, and I would encourage anybody else who's heard something today, if they would like to, to get clarification, or if they have questions, that they put them in the chat. Let's begin. Grace Grima asked the question: will the sessions be taped for future reference, or if we miss one session, can we listen to it later? I think that, Trey, you've touched on this. I would only say that the San Francisco Interfaith Council has 5,600 e-subscribers, and in order to go to our funders, we need to track how many people have been watching our programming. what we have done at the end of each of our, in the past, each of our online briefings is that we've sent out the recording link. And the recording link is downloaded on YouTube, and it's connected with our Twitter and Facebook feeds. And so we are able to track how many people have visited us. We will do the same. We will do the same with this session. So if anybody has missed something, they can watch it. But Trey, you had mentioned, and I am grateful that you did. And if you could just reiterate this, in order to get the credits, and perhaps Nina, you can build on this too. Would you talk about the importance of being online for the sessions?
Real briefly, I want to echo. So yeah, if you need the CEU credits, we want you in the event when we're running it. But if you're like, oh, I missed it, I still want to learn the content, you'll be able to go to our SFIC channel on YouTube and still get to get all that great content. But I think for the purpose of CEUs, we want you in the room.
Yeah. Nina, did you want to say anything to that? Because I know that this is your area of expertise.
No, I concur with Trey, absolutely, to be present. You miss a lot by missing one of the classes because, again, the tools that are given along with the resources. So I encourage you to be present at the programs. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you both. Our friend Joyce Calagos says, I am not part of the clergy. I'm a Catholic female, but I have an MDiv. Can non-clergy get CEU? That's the first part of the question. And then she goes on to say, I'm a spiritual mentor with the Laudato Si movement. Can you have a series to promote Laudato Si? Melissa Vlach is the SF Archdiocesan coordinator for Laudato Si action platform. Perhaps you can coordinate with her. I'm going to let Nina and Trey talk about CEU, but I would just say we are dipping our toes in the water with this program, and the success of this program will dictate whether we continue training series on other issues. So I thank you for bringing that up. And we are concentrating on the success of this program in order to make a decision as to whether to continue training series like this in the future. But the first part of the question, I am not part of the clergy. I'm a Catholic female, but I have an MDiv. Can non-clergy get CEU? Nina?
Quick answer, yes.
Okay.
And we will take care of the details later, but yes, and I'm so glad you're here with us. So thank you.
Nina, can you just speak for a moment about the accrediting process, how that works? I mean, who is issuing the credits, and if you're not part of a particular faith tradition, will that be of significance to you?
Oh, sure, by all means. What will happen is that another step with the CEU is who will the CEUs be turned into? I mean, to what agency, what organization, whether lay or clergy, for social workers, So the template is set as to when Trey says, these folks attended the classes. And in turn, a conversation will take place for a complete unit. For example, again, it takes, for many folks, it's 10 hours per one unit. The key word is continuing education, which means they can take their tools and resources, much like I do, and I go to organizations to help them plan with their congregation funerals. So that works towards the CE 10-hour units. That makes
that makes sense. And
Okay.
Trey, did you want to add anything?
Well, and Nina, who is the accrediting body?
This will be through Metta Fund, and so the certification can come from two sources, whether it be the Metta Fund or let's say, the Diocese of California.
Okay. And will people have a choice, or will that come from you?
They will have a choice.
Got it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes.
Trey, I know this came through you from Melissa Hansel. Thanks for sharing that. Would it be possible to coordinate specific series topics, isolation or aging and ableism trainings, to be brought to our programs? Would any of you like to speak to that? What I heard, I think, Nina, you saying, was that the intent of this program too is not to just keep the information that you receive here, but to go out and share it.
Yes. For example, when we were first developing this wonderful pilot program, the conversation turned rather quickly when I asked the question of the group that we were all together, how many folks had filled out their funeral planning sheet? How many of you have talked to a loved one? And there's one person, I won't mention his, her, their name, that said, I did. And so with that and alone was a pastoral piece that this individual did for his, her, they lover. So I'm getting off the track. I do this all the time. The good news is that taking this to your faith communities is what it's all about. I mean, you're the tool. You're the tool to go out to your faith community, say, how many seniors in this congregation have filled out their funeral? How many of you are in isolation? What are the tools that you need to know that your community, that someone is suffering from violence in their own home by a loved one? These tools that we will hear in the next 6 weeks are fantastic. And the resources that you're going to walk away with are going to be in hand. So it's, in my opinion, this is why I get so passionate about this, is that our seniors, Bayview Mission, we have seniors. I have one senior that comes and knocks on my door during the week because he's hungry. He's isolated. He has nowhere to go. So if that happens in a special mission and we can serve that individual, think of what we could do as faith leaders in San Francisco and the wider community. So I'll stop now. Thank you.
Trey, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think, this is in many ways train the trainer, if you will. It's a great way for you to take this toolbox that you're going to fill with all these different tools and then share them with your network. Right. That's really what we want. Yes. It's the multiplier effect, right? You learn, and then you get to share this on with either your team or people in your network.
Thank you, Trey. And I just wanted to say that when this was conceived, and I had mentioned earlier a program I did in Chicago, not only did we get lots of papers to fill the binder, but we got a business card from the presenter who is the expert, say, in that field. And so we also had the resources to contact in a time of need. It's our intention with this program is to not only provide you the information, but also to make resources available for you and speakers available for you to bring into your communities. So I hope that answers the question. I think it did, but if not, continue to ask, okay? Angela Hay sends this message. Will you be addressing how to relate to older adults and the care staff in care communities, assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, etc.? In particular, staff are very stressed and in need of spiritual support, as well as residents. Well, I can just say that we're going to make sure that Chiu gets this information. My guess is that in week number 2, important resources, that will be brought up. If not, I will make sure that it is brought up in one of the appropriate sessions. But that is absolutely key, because they are sort of your lifeline to care for your loved ones. And so I don't know if any of the other, maybe Debora, you'd like to respond to this, because I know that in addition to your work with your campus for Jewish living, that you're also working with the Jewish home. If you might want to speak to this.
It is challenging. I want to invite more than theory is really walking through what we do and getting to know the different resources and the different possibilities that there are for our elders. Because it's a challenging environment, and it's an environment where you can have the best time of your life. I've been doing this, I was before that in the East Bay in Danville, and it's just the joy of my life. So I really would like to invite you, and then we can, there's a lot of things that we can learn, from our own staff in terms of both memory care, assisted living, and skilled nursing.
Thank you. I mean, what we will do, though, is I'm going to make sure Chiu over at the Institute on Aging has received this. We're able to harvest all of these questions and make sure that they're addressed. And so I would ask Trey to make sure that this gets to Ali so that we can integrate it into the course. Great question. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Pam and Larry Dannenberg, Michael and SFIC team. This is such an important topic. Thanks so much to you and all for the collaborations. Then she asks, what about RNs, LVNs, and other medical professions? Can they get CEUs? I'm gonna let Nina, because I know that this is her area of expertise.
Answer, yes.
It's the whole community. It's, everybody. It's the janitors, the CNAs, everybody.
Thank you. Joyce asks one more question. I trust this series will be successful. Another national issue is mental illness. We need a series of emotional and mental illness and wellness. How many San Franciscans know that they can get free fentanyl strips for powdered substance, only free Narcan? Well, thank you very much. And once again, depending on the success of this series, we will be able to shine spotlights on other key issues that face our community. But our focus right now certainly is going to be on empowering older adults. I just wanted to say, because we're at the hour, if anybody has any closing comments, if you were a faith-affiliated caregiver sitting in the audience right now, what would you see the benefit of this program giving you in the long run? Tom? You're muted.
Yeah. Well, the greater, to me, it'd be wonderful if the whole faith community, parts of the faith community, get more involved with seniors. I've recently had the occasion to visit a long-term care facility, on several occasions to visit a friend, and there's a sign-in book. You have to sign in. And I usually go in the afternoon, and I'm like the second or third person all day. And you see people sitting around lonely. Mindful of the Surgeon General's recent report on loneliness and how important that is as a real medical, real social concern. And so I would hope to just the awareness of being seniors. And I guess I'm certainly the only senior on this panel. So speaking on behalf of all seniors everywhere, but I think it's really important that people acknowledge that we're here and the struggles that we go through. And I'm certainly not put myself in a bad place like that. But the loneliness, I think, is a very, very important thing. And I would hope that this would break down many fears or concerns people might have about getting involved in this kind of work.
Thank you. Others of you, if you'd like to say if you were sitting in the audience, what would you say would be the greatest benefit of that will be imparted to our attendees and registrants? Nina?
Well, you can tell that I'm very quiet, very reserved. My reason for being here today, thanks to everyone that has been mentioned, is to give a voice to our seniors and let them be heard. And again, if I'm trailing off, pull me back in. But the need is so great, and we need additional faith leaders to take on or be passionate enough and have a resource to go to assist faith leaders. And our faith leaders are in this for a very good reason, and that is to serve those in need. And when you look at the food pantries, what's the average age? When it comes to pharmacies and seeing seniors trying to get their medication, where are their advocates? We are the advocates. We as faith leaders are the advocates for our seniors. And we continue to move forward and find new ways and break down barriers. In this pilot program, again, I'm learning a lot from many of you on this screen right now. And those who are a little afraid to ask a question due to their own embarrassment, get over it and take charge and become an advocate for our seniors. That's what I have to say right now. I'm very passionate about our seniors. And I'm going to be 72. And I'm very happy with that. And I have something to give, just like every one person that is on this orientation and the pilot program. So thank you again for all of your work and the work we will do together. Thank you.
Thank you. We're at the end of the time. I want to say thank you to all of our team here, to our principals. And because I asked the question, if you were an attendee, what would you say the benefit is? I'd like to give the last word to Melissa. Let me see if I can zoom up a little bit. Oops, hold on just a second. She gave a wonderful answer to this. Just let me see if I can find that. The benefit as a participant that I see is that it is holistic support to individual and community wellness. I am so excited to join this pilot series. We are grateful to you, Melissa, and to all of you who have registered for this program. Help spread the word. That is really the word of the day. And we would invite you to join us next Thursday at 8:30 for the first in the training series, Elder Abuse and Prevention. Looking forward to journeying with you all. God bless you, God keep you, and that brings our orientation to a close.
Thank you for joining us. We'll allow our guests to exit the room, and everyone have a nice day.